India's parliament has seen heated protests after a record 141 opposition MPs were suspended from both chambers in the past week. They've been accused of disrupting proceedings as they demand a debate on the major security lapse that occurred at the legislature last week.
The House has been reduced to just being a shouting brigade.
The suspension of parliament members is the largest in the country's history. Opposition parties have slammed the move as a mockery of democracy and have accused the government of dictatorship. The Minister of Parliamentary Affairs said that the bulk of lawmakers that have been barred for the rest of the session defied the speakers and abused the rules of the House. Opposition Congress Party leader Rahul Gandhi led suspended MPs in demonstrations outside the Parliament building. At the same time, members of the opposition grouping India have held a meeting on the suspensions and their strategy for next year's general elections. During last week's security breach at Parliament, a man jumped into the lawmakers' area of the lower house, shouted slogans and set off a smoke canister. Federal authorities are investigating the incident and have since arrested 4 suspects. The Speaker of the lower house has also ordered a high-level inquiry. For more, Priyata Brajbasi joins us live. She's in New Delhi. Priyata, nearly 100 MPs suspended from Parliament in the past week alone. Can the House still function on that number, and how will this impact proceedings?
It has been a tumultuous week in Indian Parliament, and with 49 fresh suspensions on Tuesday, there are now 141 opposition members of Parliament that stand suspended, and most of these parliamentarians have been suspended for the entire duration of the winter session of Parliament that concludes on Friday. Now, most of these parliamentarians are, of course, saying that this suspension is a death of democracy. They've called it an utter failure of the government, and one member of the opposition has also compared India's parliamentary proceedings to the North Korean embassy. And of course, like you said, that the suspended members of parliament continued their protest outside the parliament today. They have come down heavily on the ruling government, and they are continuing their demand of a statement from the Home Minister, Amit Shah, about the recent Parliament security breach that took place last week. They're also saying that the government is trying to downplay the involvement of a BJP parliamentarian whose office was allegedly responsible for giving entry permits to the accused, and they were able to use these permits to enter the parliament premises. Of course, the Home Minister has not come up with a statement in the parliament as of now, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday morning, while addressing an internal party meet, criticized the behavior of the opposition leaders. He called it unruly, and he also said that they were just expressing frustrations over their defeat in the recently concluded state polls.
Opposition members have seen their fair share of criticism, but they're also working on their next steps ahead of next year's general election. Any major announcements from their meeting today?
The opposition alliance, also known as the India Alliance or the India Bloc, they met on Tuesday afternoon. In fact, that meeting is still currently underway, and the alliance is likely to talk to the media after the meeting gets over. But before the beginning of the meeting, the Congress Party, which is India's main opposition party, did address the media, and they did announce a 4-member committee which will be responsible in engaging with the other members of the alliance to come up with a seat-sharing arrangement, which is the primary agenda of today's meeting. The opposition alliance is coming up with a strategy for the 2024 general elections, where they will be challenging Prime Minister Narendra Modi's bid for a 3rd term in power. There are also reports that the opposition alliance could come up with a consensus on a prime ministerial candidate, but analysts say that that is unlikely to happen this early. We're also hearing reports that many of the attendees, of course, are suspended members of parliament, and reports suggest that the opposition parties have decided to continue their protests against the parliament security breach, and they will continue to do so even after the conclusion of the winter session of parliament on Friday.
Priyata, thank you for that. Priyata Brajbasi there, live for us from New Delhi.